Hello everybody, I'm Meiji again. We discussed how important sulfur is for our body yesterday, and today we are going to link it to something called amino acids. But before that, let me share something on why I realized that Sulfurzyme was so important for growth. My younger child, she has some development issues, and from the age of 0 to 3 years old, basically she was not growing at the optimum rate, right? So she was just less than 10 kilos when she was 3 years old, and she looks like a 1-year-old kid. And the shoes that she wore from 1-year-old to 3-year-old was the same, so there was not much growth. So how did she manage to grow after that? Well, I only give her 2 capsules of this Sulfurzyme every day, and I didn't realize how important it was until one day when I picked her up. She was no longer that empty body when she was 3 years old. Like the TCM physician will tell me, inside is empty. She tells me that there's not much substance inside her. But after supplementing with Sulfurzyme for maybe say at least 1 or 2 years, I realized that her body constitution has changed. In fact, the growth has occurred and the feet become bigger. She could wear bigger shoes. She has grown taller and everything. So we are all living things. We need proteins in our body for sure. And protein is the most plentiful by weight, right? 20% by weight of our body. And we are going to talk about building blocks for proteins, and that's 3 sulfur amino acids. We are going to talk about that in detail so that you understand what's the relevance of sulfur in our body. So I think we mentioned yesterday, MSM chain is converted to something called methionine. Okay, methionine will increase this something called lecithin, which will break down fat, and then it will prevent accumulation of fat in the liver and arteries that could restrict the flow of blood to the heart, the brain, and the kidneys. Therefore, it could be used to support these organs. Particularly, you could use it to support the liver because of that. And of course, because these are building blocks, so you just use them for protein synthesis. You just build chains of all these amino acids, which are the orange ones. This is the peptide bond. Then you could also use methionine for making genetic material like your DNA and RNA. One important thing that was also applicable to me was it detoxed harmful agents like lead, cadmium, mercury, and arsenic, because she did test positive for these toxic metals in her hair analysis. And then animal studies, right, they show that methionine could counteract free radicals and support situations of kidney stones. So free radicals are these little substance that cause chaos, they create havoc. So you need to neutralize all of these so that it doesn't hurt your cells. And then deficiency of methionine and taurine, they're actually associated with certain allergies and autoimmune disorder. Autoimmune means that the body starts to attack itself, okay, for no reason. And then it's also part of the peptide protein chain that responsible for pain relief and also brings your mood up. It elevates your mood. This substance is called endorphins. Plus, it could prevent problem of the hair, the skin, and nails, because I've said these are building blocks, right? It nourishes the cartilage. So good sources, food sources, if you want to consider, could be beans, your eggs, your onion, garlic, lentils, soybean, yogurt, fish, and meat, sunflower seeds. But of course, as MSM will be destroyed once you cook unprocessed food. Okay, so just take note. The second amino acid we are going to talk about is cysteine. Like all amino acid, it contributes to the structure of the protein. And then in keratin is found in keratin. Where is keratin found? In all your hard structures like your nail, the skin, and your hair. So it aids also the production of collagen, so mainly like the connective tissue. It gives it the elasticity in the skin. It's also very important in energy production because it's converted to glucose. It's called this sugar that the body can burn. And along with methionine, just now we have mentioned, it manufactures something called lipoic acid. It reduces the diabetic's need for insulin. As expected, okay, it also renders toxic chemical, carcinogens harmless, and promotes healing from respiratory disorder and severe burns. And if people undergo radiation or chemotherapy, right, this could actually prevent damage from the free radicals generated by this process. And then the third amino acid we are going to talk about is taurine. Well, moms, how many times have we heard before when we get the infant formula and they say that it has taurine and it helps the brain development? Well, that is part of the function of taurine. But firstly, we understand this is actually synthesized from cysteine. It's not in vegetable protein. It's the most abundant in the body. And it's true, it's essential for infants because it's for the development of the central nervous system, which means includes the brain and the muscle tissue. And it's not incorporated into proteins per se, means it's not built into the chain, but it's key to metabolism. It actually stabilizes the cell membrane and it helps keep minerals, helps these minerals in and out of cells for this exchange. Taurine is also important as an inhibitory substance used to support epilepsies and seizures. And it is the most important and abundant amino acid in the heart. And we have found that in people who had eye disease, it's something called retinitis pigmentosa, which is a degenerative disease that's actually reduced levels of taurine in the blood. So take note, if people who excessively drink alcohol, they will have a urinary loss of taurine, and diabetes will increase the need for taurine. So supplementing it with cysteine may decrease this need, as we have said just now. And it's also a component of bowel. What's this bowel used for? Bowel is from the gallbladder. Actually helps to digest the fats and it helps us to absorb fat-soluble vitamins and control our cholesterol levels. So what happens when you get all these amino acids? Well, you arrange them in specific combination into proteins, okay? So like that. Then what does proteins do for us? Well, basically their function is for growth and maintenance. So that's what I saw in my girl. And they regulate body processes and supplies energy. And since protein is a major part of all living cells, cell building and regeneration is the basis for life, and so it's clear that you will need a continuous supply of protein, which must be maintained. So since essential amino acids which are not made by the body must be secured from food, sulfur-containing amino acids are the most limited of all amino acids. Therefore, I would consider supplemental sources if necessary. So thank you for this watching this sharing. Tomorrow we're going to talk about part 3, which is on sulfur and the B vitamins. So stay tuned. Thank you.